Everyone assumed the commander's anger was just another bad temper day, until the ground shook beneath her and the truth finally surfaced. No one expected the smallest soldier in the platoon to be the one he should have feared. It happened in less than 3 heartbeats. The commander barked her name across the training yard, spun on his heel, and slammed his palm into her shoulder so hard she hit the ground with a thud that silenced every voice within 50 yards. Dust lifted around her like a cloud mourning the fallen, and for a moment, even she wondered if she'd stay down. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. A ring of cadets gathered under the sharp midday sun, their breaths caught between outrage and fear. Some muttered that she should walk away. Others, braver or more hopeful, whispered that this moment might be the one that finally revealed who she really was. Her name was Sergeant Lila Reyes, soft-spoken, overlooked, the one new recruits assumed was there because someone made a mistake in the paperwork. But inside, the anger she carried trembled like the coffee cups back in her barracks each time artillery drilled the ground. She had seen darkness long before she ever wore her uniform. She knew what it meant to endure. And yet, as she lifted herself from the dirt, something shifted, not in her bones, but in the air itself. The commander's shadow stretched long over her, his voice cutting the silence. You don't belong here. When I say move, you move. When I say stand down, you stand down. Understand? She looked up at him, calm, controlled. But behind her eyes simmered a story she never wanted to tell. One she had run from. One he had just dragged out into daylight. She stood. He didn't expect that. No one did. Moments later, the atmosphere tightened. A wind brushed across the training field, lifting the dust as if nature felt the tension building. Lila's heartbeat pounded steady, her muscles rigid but ready. She didn't raise her hands. She didn't retaliate. She only spoke. "Sir, you trained us never to leave a soldier behind," she said. "So why did you leave them?" That single question rippled through the yard like a fault line breaking open the earth. Cadets exchanged confused glances. The commander's jaw tightened, and for the first time that day, he blinked. She thought she'd never see him again. She was wrong. 2 years before this moment, she had been deployed in a flooded village overseas, where mud swallowed boots whole and the screams of trapped families echoed off the battered walls. Her squad was split during a cave-in. Lila stayed behind, crawling through collapsing debris to pull 2 injured soldiers to safety. The commander, then a major, ordered an immediate retreat. He left half the squad shouting for help behind a wall of rock and water, and Lila never forgot the sound of their voices. Now, under the noon sun, she watched those memories flicker across his expression. Shame, denial, regret. "You weren't supposed to know about that," he muttered. "But I do," she answered, "and so will they." Murmurs spread through the platoon. Even the senior officers had stepped outside their offices, sensing the storm gathering. For a moment no one breathed. Then she walked past him, not away, forward. Her steps were steady, echoing across the concrete like a verdict. She marched to the center of the yard, raised her chin, and declared, "A true commander leads from the front, not from fear." What followed felt like the earth itself responding. Cadets aligned behind her, boots hitting the ground in synchronized rhythm. Their formation filled the yard like a wave rising in silent protest. Even officers couldn't ignore it. The commander stood frozen, his authority, once unquestioned, dissolved under the weight of collective truth. And with every soldier who stepped forward behind her, his face sagged further, until the reality of who he had become lay bare for all to see. By sunset, he had requested reassignment. Not one soldier protested his departure. Lila never celebrated. She only sat quietly, watching dust dance in the golden light, grateful that sunlight could still reach the hardest places. Because courage doesn't roar, sometimes it simply stands, until the truth can no longer hide. And in that bright training yard, where she once fell, she finally rose higher than anyone expected. Because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. And sometimes, it rises from the very ground where everyone thought you'd stay down. If this story moved you, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories told straight from the heart.